Here we are going to see the conversation between Taffy and the stranger man. Come here, said Taffy. Do you know where my mummy lives? And the stranger man said, Silly, said Taffy. And she stamped her foot because she saw a shoal of very big carp going up the river just when her daddy couldn't use his spear. Don't bother grown ups, said Tegumai, so busy with his spear mending that he did not turn round. I aren't, said Taffy. I only want him to do what I want him to do, and he won't understand. Here we come to know that Taffy, she was calling the stranger man, and she just asks him the question, where does her mummy live? And the stranger man, he just sounded he because he couldn't understand her language. Then, just by saying silly, she stamps her foot because she can see shoal of very big carp. Carp is a kind of fish going up the river just when her daddy couldn't use his spear. Now Tegumai is busy bending his spear, and Taffy, she only wants that man to help her out in whatever she would tell him. Actually, in her mind, she is thinking to give a message, to send a message with the help of this man who is a Tivara, uh, to fetch the spear for her daddy. Then don't bother me, said Tegumai, and he went on pulling and straining at the deer's noose with his mouth full of loose ends. Uh, Here, Tegumai is busy mending his spear. The stranger man, a genuine Tivara, he was sat down on the grass, and Taffy showed him what her daddy was doing. Now, this girl, she came in contact with this man, and she just was trying to explain this man in her language what her father was doing. The stranger man thought, this is a very wonderful child. This man, he couldn't understand her language, uh, and he loves her gestures. That is, she stamps her foot at him, and she makes faces. She must be the daughter of the noble chief who is so great that he won't take any notice of me. Now, these are the thoughts which the stranger man, Tivara, he had in his mind. He was unaware who Taffy was. So he smiled more politely than ever because he thought she was the daughter of the noble chief. Now, said Taffy, I want you to go to my mummy because your legs are long than mine, and you won't fall into the beaver swamp, and ask for daddy's other spear, the one with the black handle that hangs over our fireplace. The stranger man thought, this is a very, very wonderful child. She waves her arms and she shouts at me, but I don't understand a word what she says. Uh, Taffy, she's wonderfully explaining that she wishes this man he can easily go to her cave, ask her mother for another spear for her daddy, and even she compares her legs with his legs, and she says that he has longer legs than hers. So just see, she is wonderfully comparing the things, her the body parts with her legs. The stranger man couldn't understand a single word what Taffy is explaining because their languages are totally different. She is not able to communicate up to mark because both of them do not understand each other's language. The stranger man, he then again thinks how wonderful the child was. But the Taffy again, she is busy explaining how the things could work if he goes there. But if I don't do what she wants, I greatly fear that haughty chief man who turns his back on callers will be angry. He got up and twisted a big flat piece of bark off a birch tree and gave it to Taffy. He did his best, this best, uh, beloved, to show his heart was as white as the birch bark and that he meant to no harm. But Taffy didn't quite understand. The Tivara, the stranger man, he was worried because he thought that if he couldn't, if he won't listen to the person, the man whom he considers to be the noble chief, he would be angry. That's why, just to show a good gesture, he gives the birch bark uh, to show his there is no intention to harm his daughter. Oh, she said. Now, as both of them didn't understand what each other said, she interpreted that he wanted to show through drawing or give a message through drawing on the birch bark. Now I see you want my mommy's living address. Now she thought that he is giving the birch bark to give the address on that. Of course, I can't write, but I can draw pictures. Though she couldn't write through pictures, she would explain the address. If I've anything sharp to scratch with, please lend me the shark's tooth of your necklace. She misinterprets that he wishes to get her house address, her home address on the birch bark. The stranger man, and he was a Tivara, didn't say anything. So Taffy put up her little hand and pulled at the beautiful bead and seed and shark tooth necklace round his neck. The shark tooth was um, in his necklace, so she just took it. The stranger man, and he was a Tivara, thought this is a very, very, very wonderful child. The shark's tooth on his necklace was a magic shark tooth, he thought, and he was always told that if anybody touched it without his permission, uh, they would immediately swell up or burst. But this little child didn't swell up or burst, and that important chief, man who attends strictly to his business, who has not yet taken any notice of him at all, didn't seem to be afraid that she would swell up or burst. He had better be more polite. So he thought that he should be more polite towards the chief's daughter. Why did the stranger's admiration for Taffy grow? Her gestures were really very good and it reminded of his daughter. He gave Taffy the shark's tooth and she lay down flat on her tummy with her legs in the air, like some people on the drawing room floor when they want to draw pictures. And she said that at that time she will be drawing some beautiful pictures which the stranger can look over her shoulder. But he should just look carefully. First, she said that she would be drawing daddy, that her daddy is fishing, and it isn't very like him. Why? Because she was not that good in drawing, and her she even explains him that her mother would know because her drawing appears the spear is broken, that also she draws. Then she draws another spear to tell that she wanted a new spear that was kept at home, a black handled spear, she draws that. Then she even kept it lot of other minute details she tries to draw with her small hands. um, and the shark's tooth, while drawing the picture, it slips from her hand. That's why the spear, she even pinpoints in her drawing the spear which she wants to get it from her house, from her cave. In the next video, we'll see what happens once the message is carried by this stranger man, Taffy, and how he misinterprets the drawing. Thank you.